The school hallway was full of noise. Students laughed. Lockers slammed. Posters for the annual talent and fashion show were on every wall. Mia walked in the middle of the hallway like she owned it. Expensive perfume. New phone in her hand. Designer backpack on her shoulder. Her friends followed her like she was a queen. On the other side, Grace walked alone. She held her books close to her chest. Her dress was simple. Light blue. Hand-stitched. A little loose from one side. The threads near the sleeve were still visible. Mia's eyes landed on her. She stopped walking. Mia, loudly, "Oh, but God, what is that?" Her friends looked up. Grace froze. She knew they were talking about her. Everyone went quiet. Mia walked closer, her heels clicking on the floor. "Mia, Grace, is that your dress? Or did your curtains run away from the window?" The hallway exploded with laughter. Grace's cheeks turned red. Her hands started shaking. She looked at the floor. One boy whispered, "She looks like she's wearing a donation box." Another girl laughed, "So cheap. So ugly." Grace tried to smile, but her eyes filled with tears. Mia stepped even closer, pulled the fabric at the shoulder and said, "Mia, who made this? Your mother? Does she sell these in the trash market?" Her friends shouted, "Trash dress. Poor girl fashion." Someone took a picture. Someone recorded a video. Grace whispered, voice breaking, "Please, don't." Mia raised her phone and said, "Mia, say cheese, Grace. Let the whole school see this masterpiece." The camera clicked. Grace couldn't move. For a moment, she wished she was invisible. What Mia didn't know was this. The same trash dress she was laughing at. Soon the whole city would clap for it. And Mia would stand in front of Grace, begging for a chance to talk. That morning had started very different for Grace. In a tiny one-room apartment, her mother sat at an old sewing machine. The fan made a scratching sound. The window was cracked. The table was full of small pieces of cloth. "Hold the fabric, Grace," her mother said softly. Grace held the light blue cloth with both hands. Her mother's fingers moved fast, sewing little flowers along the hem. Grace, smiling a little, "Mom, are you sure it looks okay?" Her mom looked tired, but her eyes were warm. "Mom, it doesn't look okay." Grace's heart dropped. Then her mom smiled and touched her cheek. "Mom, it looks beautiful. Because you will wear it." They both laughed quietly. Her mom worked as a cleaner in different houses. Sometimes she stitched clothes for extra money. There was never enough. No new clothes. No branded shoes. No fancy bags. But there was love. There was care in every stitch of that dress. Grace looked at the dress in the mirror. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. Made with love, with sacrifice, with long nights. Her mom whispered, "Mom, you will wear this today and hold your head high." "Okay." Grace nodded. "Grace, okay, Mom." But school was different. In school, people like Mia ruled. Mia's dad was rich. Very rich. He owned buildings, restaurants, and even sponsored the school events. Mia never wore the same outfit twice. Her shoes were more expensive than Grace's whole rent. Teachers smiled more at Mia. Students wanted to sit near Mia. Everyone followed her on social media. Grace. She tried to stay quiet, do her homework, and not get noticed. But that day, the blue dress made her visible. Too visible. After the hallway humiliation, Grace ran to the washroom. She locked herself inside a stall. Tears fell silently. Her hands were still shaking. She could still hear their words. Trash dress. Poor girl. Ugly. Grace whispered to herself. Grace, why did I even come to school in this? She took a piece of tissue and tried to wipe her eyes, but more tears came. Then there was a soft knock on the door. Mia, are you in there? Grace froze. But the voice was gentle. It wasn't Mia. It was Ms. Carter, her class teacher. Ms. Carter. Grace? It's me. Can you open the door? Grace opened it slowly. Ms. Carter saw her red eyes, the shaking hands, the wrinkled dress. Ms. Carter's voice was calm. Ms. Carter, I saw what happened outside. Grace looked down, ashamed. Grace, everyone laughed at me. Miss, maybe they're right. My dress looks cheap. Ms. Carter gently lifted Grace's chin so she had to look at her. Ms. Carter, Grace, look at me. This dress is special. Do you know why? Grace sniffed. Why? Ms. Carter, because someone who loves you made it. That makes it more valuable than all their designer brands. Grace's lips trembled. No one had ever said it like that. Ms. Carter continued. Ms. Carter, and there is something else. I was actually looking for you before this happened. Grace blinked, confused. Grace, for me? Why? Ms. Carter pulled out a paper from her folder. It was a colorful poster. City Young Designers and Talent Show, Scholarship Opportunity. Ms. Carter smiled. Ms. Carter, you always draw dresses in your notebook. I've seen your designs. The way you change old clothes, the way you repair uniforms. Grace, you have talent. Grace shook her head fast. Grace, no, miss. I'm not like them. I'm just poor. Ms. Carter's voice became firm. Ms. Carter, talent does not ask how much money you have. They are looking for someone creative. Someone who can make something beautiful from almost nothing. That sounds like you, doesn't it? Grace stayed silent. Ms. Carter leaned closer. Ms. Carter, what if this dress, the one they called trash, becomes something everyone claps for? Grace looked at her reflection in the mirror again. For the first time, she didn't see poor girl. She saw someone who could create. Ms. Carter, think about it. I can help you apply. The winner gets a scholarship. They get to show their design on a real stage. A real stage. That word stayed in Grace's mind. As Grace wiped her tears, a small flame started inside her chest. Not anger. Not hate. Just a quiet, strong voice saying, I will not let their words decide my worth. The bell rang. Ms. Carter squeezed her shoulder and said, Ms. Carter, go to class. Think about it. And Grace, don't ever be ashamed of your dress. Grace walked out, still scared, but with a new thought in her heart. She had no idea that this decision could turn her whole life around. Would you have the courage to enter that contest if you were in her place? Over the next days, the whispers in school didn't stop. Mia had posted the hallway picture online with the caption, Some people think we still live in 1990. Nauseated face #trashdress. Hundreds of likes. Laughing emojis. Mean comments. Grace saw it. Her stomach hurt when she read the words. But that night, something changed. In their small apartment, Grace put the phone away. She spread her notebooks on the table. All her dress sketches. All her ideas. Her mom looked tired after work, but when she saw the papers, she came closer. Mom, what's all this, Grace? Grace took a deep breath. Grace, there's a competition, Mom. A young designers show. Ms. Carter thinks I should try. Her mom's eyes widened. Mom, designers? But we don't have money for materials. For fees. For anything. Grace quickly showed her the poster. Grace, look, Mom. They want designs from simple materials. Old fabric. Reused cloth. They want creativity. And the winner gets a scholarship. Her mom went quiet. She looked at the cheap bulbs, the cracked wall, the unpaid bills on the side. Then she looked at her daughter. That same small flame was now in Grace's eyes. Mom whispered, voice shaking. Mom, you really want to try? Grace nodded. Grace, I'm tired of feeling small, Mom. I want to try. Just once. Her mom's eyes filled with tears. She hugged Grace tightly. Mom, then we will try. We will use whatever we have. We will not give up before we even start. That week, their house became a little workshop. Old curtains. Leftover fabric from other people's clothes. Buttons from broken shirts. Ribbons from gift boxes. They cut. They stitched. They folded. Sometimes the electricity went out. They used candles. Sometimes her mom's hands hurt from working all day and then sewing at night. Grace massaged them and said, Rest, Mom, I'll do the rest tonight. At school, Mia still laughed whenever she saw Grace. Mia, so, what are you wearing today? Dustbin collection. Her friends snickered. Grace now answered with silence. But inside she thought, one day you will see my work. Not here, but on a real stage. One afternoon, in art class, everyone was told to sketch a dress design. Mia drew something fancy with glitter pens and gold lines. Grace drew quietly at the back. Her lines were careful, her eyes focused. When Ms. Carter passed by her desk, she stopped. Ms. Carter, surprised, Grace, this is beautiful. On the page was a design. A long, flowing dress made from mixed fabrics. Blue, white, soft gray. Simple, but elegant. Small hand-stitched flowers at the bottom. The same pattern as the dress her mother had made. Ms. Carter smiled proudly. Ms. Carter, are you sending this to the competition? Grace nodded shyly. From the front row, Mia rolled her eyes. Mia, loudly, Miss, they're not looking for charity cases in that show. They want real designers. The class laughed again. Ms. Carter's face turned serious. Ms. Carter, Mia, talent can come from anywhere. Even from someone you look down on. Be careful what you say. For a moment, Mia felt a sting of embarrassment. But her pride was bigger than her guilt. Mia, folding her arms, let's see if they even look at her design. Days passed. Then one evening, Grace received an email on Ms. Carter's phone. Her hands trembled as she read it. Dear Grace, your design has been selected for the final show. You will present it on stage next Saturday. She gasped and put her hand over her mouth. Grace, Mom, Ms. Carter, I got in. I actually got in. Her mom hugged her so tight it almost hurt. Mom, crying, I'm so proud of you, my child. Ms. Carter smiled with tears in her own eyes. Ms. Carter, this is only the beginning, Grace. Now we prepare for the stage. Meanwhile, Mia's house was full of excitement too. Her dad was sponsoring the same event. Her room was full of dresses from famous designers. Her mother had hired a stylist. Mia was sure she would be the star of the night, as always. Mia, looking at herself in the mirror, of course I'll be in front row. Everyone will look at me. She didn't even know Grace's name was on the final list. On the day of the show, the big hall was full. Bright lights. Red carpet. Famous people. Flashes from cameras. Backstage, Grace stood in her finished dress. It was a more polished version of the blue one. Fixed edges. Extra hand-stitched details. It still wasn't rich, but it was elegant, clean, and full of heart. Her hands were shaking again. Mom, whispering, breathe, Grace. Just breathe. No matter what happens, I am proud of you. Ms. Carter came to her and squeezed her shoulder. Ms. Carter, remember who you are. You're not the girl they laugh at in the hallway. You're the designer tonight. Then the host's voice boomed from the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the City Young Designers Show. The music started. One by one, young designers walked out with their models. Grace's heart beat faster. Then the host said, "And now, our next designer, a student whose story touched our hearts. Please welcome Grace Miller." Grace froze. Her name on the speakers, in front of everyone. She took a deep breath and stepped toward the light. And in the front row, Mia lifted her head. Her eyes grew wide. Mia whispered, "Mia, wait, is that Grace?" The same girl she called Trash was now walking onto the biggest stage she had ever seen. The same dress she laughed at now glowed under the spotlight. What would Mia do now? Grace stepped onto the stage. The bright lights almost blinded her. For a second, her legs felt weak. But then she remembered her mother's tired hands. She remembered Ms. Carter's words. She remembered the night they stitched the last flower on the hem. She straightened her back. She walked slowly across the stage, showing every detail of the dress. The audience was quiet at first. Then they started to notice the soft stitching, the careful design, the way the fabrics flowed together. Someone whispered, "Is that from a big brand?" Another answered, "No, it says she made it herself." The host's voice echoed, "Host, this beautiful dress was made from old, used fabric, curtains, leftover cloth, and donated pieces. Designed and stitched by Grace, a student whose mother works as a cleaner. With love and no luxury." The hall went silent. Even the judges leaned forward. Mia sat in the front row, suddenly very, very small in her seat. Her expensive red dress felt heavy. Her stomach twisted. She remembered the hallway. Her own voice saying, "Trash dress." Her own laughter. The picture online. Now those words hit her like a slap. Mia thought, "I called this trash? This?" Grace reached the center of the stage and stopped. She looked out at the crowd. For a second, her eyes met Mia's. Mia's face burned with shame. She quickly looked away. The host asked Grace to speak into the mic. Her voice shook at first. "Grace, when I wore a dress like this at school, people laughed at me. They said it was ugly. They said it was cheap." She paused. Her eyes glistened under the lights. "Grace, but my mom made it with her own hands. From leftover cloth. From people's trash. That trash kept us warm. That trash helped pay our rent. That trash is how we survived." The hall was silent. Grace took another breath. "Grace, I entered this contest to show that beauty can come from anywhere. Even from things people throw away. Even from people they look down on." Her voice broke on the last line. For a moment, no one moved. Then the clapping started. Soft at first. Then louder. Then everyone began to cheer. People stood up. Whistles. Shouts. A standing ovation. Grace's mother cried in the corner backstage, her hands over her mouth. Ms. Carter wiped her tears proudly. In the front row, Mia's eyes filled with tears too. But not from joy. From guilt. For the first time in her life, she saw herself clearly. And she didn't like what she saw. After all designers showed their work, it was time for the winner. The judges whispered. Numbers were written. Names were discussed. The host came back with an envelope. Host, smiling, "The winner of the City Young Designers Scholarship is." The whole hall held its breath. Host, Grace Miller. The crowd exploded again. Grace put her hands on her face, shocked. She walked back to the stage, shaking. They handed her a certificate, a big bouquet of flowers, a letter of scholarship. One of the judges, a famous designer named Daniel Carter, took the mic. "Daniel, Grace, your eye for detail is amazing. Your story moved me. I want to offer you something more." Grace looked confused. Daniel smiled. "Daniel, when you finish school, if you want, you can train in my studio. I think the world needs designers like you." Grace's jaw dropped. Her mom almost fainted backstage. The loudest cheer of the night filled the hall. Mia just sat there, frozen. Her chest hurt. Her eyes were wet. Because in that moment, she understood. The girl she called trash was now being lifted higher than anyone in that room. After the show, people crowded around Grace. Journalists, students, teachers, designers. Everyone wanted a picture. Everyone wanted to shake her hand. Her mom came running and hugged her. Mom crying, "You did it. You really did it." Grace hugged her back and whispered, "Grace, we did it, Mom." Ms. Carter joined them, smiling proudly. "Ms. Carter, I told you, Grace. You were never small. They just couldn't see it yet." At the edge of the crowd, Mia stood alone. No friends around her now. They were busy trying to talk to Grace. Mia's expensive dress, her shiny shoes, her perfect makeup, none of it mattered. She felt like the poorest person in the room. Her eyes were full of tears. Her hands were shaking just like Grace's had been in the hallway. She swallowed hard and slowly walked toward Grace. Every step felt heavy. When she reached her, she spoke in a small voice. "Mia, Grace, can I talk to you? Please." Grace turned. For a moment she saw the same girl from the hallway. The same girl who hurt her so much. But now Mia's eyes looked different. No pride. No laughter. Only shame. Grace didn't say anything. Mia's voice cracked. "Mia, I'm so sorry. For everything. For the picture. For the words. For all of it." A tear rolled down her cheek. "Mia, I called your dress trash. I made fun of your mom without even knowing her. I was cruel. I was horrible." She looked down at the floor, like Grace had done that day. Mia whispering, "You don't have to forgive me. I needed to say it. I was wrong." For a few seconds, there was only silence. Everyone around watched quietly. Grace looked at her. She remembered the pain, the laughter, the embarrassment. But she also remembered something else. Her mom's face. Ms. Carter's words. Her own heart. Grace took a slow breath. "Grace, softly, what you did hurt me, Mia. A lot. It took me many nights to stop hearing your words in my head." Mia's shoulders shook as she cried silently. Grace continued. "Grace, but today I don't want to stay as that girl in the hallway. I want to be the girl on the stage." She paused. "Grace, I forgive you. Not because what you did was small, but because I don't want your hate to live in my heart forever." Mia looked up, surprised. She whispered, "Mia, you forgive me?" Grace nodded. "Grace, yes. But remember this, Mia. People are not trash. Their clothes are not trash. Their dreams are not trash. If you ever talk like that about someone again, that's on you. And karma is watching." Mia nodded again and again, tears falling. "Mia, I'll never do it again. I promise. I don't want to be that person anymore." Grace gave a small, kind smile. "Grace, then start by deleting that picture. And use your voice for something better next time." Mia took out her phone. Right there, in front of everyone, she deleted the post. Later that night, she uploaded something new. A picture of Grace on stage. Her caption said, "Today I learned that real beauty is not about money. It's about heart. I was wrong. I'm sorry, Grace. You inspired me today." For the first time, Mia felt a different kind of attention. Not for being rich, not for being mean, but for admitting she was wrong. Ending message. Sometimes the people you laugh at today will be the people you clap for tomorrow. Never call someone trash just because they are poor. Money can buy clothes, but it can never buy heart, talent, or kindness. If you were in Grace's place, would you forgive Mia or walk away? Broken Heart Sparkles.